Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you for another album review. Hopefully you enjoyed my ranty-ish video on the AJR album, which I thought was a complete horseshit, that album. So we're gonna continue on for the next album, which is the Kid LAROI's new album, The First Time, that I got a chance to check out for his debut studio album to see what I was going to think of this album. I don't know if it's his debut or his sophomore, but personally, I'll have to go and look into that. But I'm going to discuss what I listened to for all 20 tracks for this Kid LAROI album and let you know my thoughts on this Kid LAROI album. Sorry, there was something in my head I was picking at. It's like, yeah, doesn't matter, but still, my head was itchy, or guess you could say. So let's dive right into this Kid LAROI, the first time album review. Starts with Sorry, and off the bat, it's an average track to open the album. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but there are some weak moments throughout the song with his rapping from time to time. I don't know, some of his rapping did okay, and then there's some sections where it didn't do okay. So I'd give this possibly a 3.5 out of 5. It's an average opening track in my opinion. Sorry about that thing, that's my phone or whatever. So pretty much 3.5 out of 5. Bleed, actually I did like this track. I think it's a pretty good track for what I went for. His vocals, there were some moments where it felt mellow and slow paced, but I think the track overall worked with his vocals, the Kid LAROI's vocals. So give this a 5 out of 5. I actually did enjoy this track, so good track. Pretty good song. I thought that I Needed You is a decent song. It's not great in any way. It's just there are some execution flaws with this track. Like there's some sections where he's rapping that I don't know if I connect with personally, and it's mostly in the verses. They kind of are a little weak. But as the chorus comes in, I thought it was okay. So it's a decent track. So 4 out of 5. Where Do You Sleep is a decent song. I don't hate it too much. I'm just like, song happened, I guess. So um, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 too. There's some moments where I do like his singing, and some moments where his rapping kind of just takes over a little too much, and it just is iffy. I don't know. This is an album I'd be coming back to a few times, but not all the time. Uh, Only for certain tracks, mostly. But pretty much 4 out of 5. Too Much featuring Jungkook and Central is a decent one too. I don't hate it. I think the featured artists in it, there were some moments where there were some cringe moments through the featured artist's rapping. I think Central and Jungkook's rapping were iffy. So I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Tear Me Apart is a decent one too. I think Kid LAROI's rapping in it from time to time can be hit or miss, but overall the track performed decently, so it's another 4 out of 5. Strangers interlude is not too bad of an interlude. It's not very long, but it gets the job done with how it sounds like. So 4.5 out of 5. Then comes Nights Like This, and this was a decent track, so I didn't hate it for how it sounded, so 4 out of 5. It's only a minute and 25 seconds, so you're not in for that long of a track. Then comes What's the Move, and it features Future and Baby Drill. Future ruins the song, of course, with his rapping and his auto-tune rapping. It just doesn't sound great, and Baby Drill kind of sounds cringy in it, a little bit. So I think Kid LAROI was the highlight for this song. So this song is average, but it's not great. So 3.5 out of 5. Strangers Interlude Part 2, or Strangers Part 2 Interlude. Sorry, there's a fly around. I apologize for that. This is not a bad track. I think it performed alright for the interlude that it was going for. So 4.5 out of 5. Then comes Call Me Instead featuring Youngboy, Never Broke Again. This song was okay. I think Kid LAROI's singing in it was fine, and some of his rapping was okay. but it's when Young Boy Never Broke Again comes in, it sounds cringy, and I just don't like his auto-tuned rapping. Sounds like Travis Scott's. It sounds like a comparison to Travis Scott and mostly, what is his name, Young Thug? Young Thug is the worst fucking auto-tune rapper I've ever heard. And he's a mumble rapper too, and he sucks big time. So pretty much 3 out of 5 for Call Me Instead featuring Young Boy Never Broke Again. I think it's okay, but it could have used a lot more work. Or it could have had a better featured artist to make the song more interesting. Deserve You is actually a decent track. I wasn't sure. Excuse my yawning. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this, but it did perform alright. So it's decent for what it is. Kid LAROI's rapping in it, it's okay, and some of the production is solid, so 4 out of 5. What Went Wrong is an average song. Didn't hate it for how it sounded. Just, I don't know if I am crazy about this track for what it went for, so I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. The Line featuring D4VD is a solid track too. I think this track actually had nice acoustic work, and Kid LAROI's singing in it was not so bad. It's just overall, the track as a whole, there are some execution flaws from time to time with the mellow pacing of the track, but overall, this track did perform alright, so 4.5 out of 5. What Just Happened is a solid track. It's probably another one of my favorite songs from this album, and there's some solid tracks through the remainder of the album that close out this album pretty well. So pretty much 4.5 out of 5 for What Just Happened. Definitely go check out my track review for it. I did review that, and I think his last song, Bleed, came out last Friday. I just didn't review it then because I wanted to just listen to one single to see how the rest of the album was going to sound. I could have listened to Bleed, which I did not know it was going to be a 20-track album. So that's something. But 4.5 out of 5 for What Just Happened. You is a solid one. I like the mixing for the song and how it's produced. It sounds really good production-wise. And basically, overall, it did alright for what it was going for. So it's a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Another solid, slightly outstanding track with the melody. So the melody is the highlight for the song. And Kid LAROI's singing and rapping is alright for what it goes for. Then comes Love Again, and that's a decent one. I just think Kid LAROI's vocals sound alright in this. Not great, but alright. So 4 out of 5. Where Does Your Spirit Go is a decent track. I don't think I hate it. I just don't think I love it as much. But there are some sections in the track that perform good and other sections that perform decent. So I'm in the middle with that, but I still give it a 4 out of 5 because it's a decent song. You Never Forgot Your First Time was only a 2-minute and 4-second interlude to the closing track, and that is a solid interlude going into the next song. So I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. And finally, we get to Kids Are Growing Up. Decent track to close the album. Not great, but it's decent for what it went for. So 4 out of 5 for this song. So overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think Kid LAROI's new album... Sorry, I was writing down my new rating for the Where Does Your Spirit Go track. Overall, I think this is an okay album. It's not terrible. Thought I was going to like some tracks on it, but there was a majority that kind of tarnished the rating for this album. And honestly, it's not that I hate this album personally. I just think there's some misses through a certain portion of the album. But overall, Bleed is my favorite. Got Not Strangers. I'm not counting the interludes because they're just interludes. They are good interludes, but they're not something I would count as actual songs I really dig. But Bleed was a good one. That's probably my favorite. Then you have The Line, What Just Happened, You, and finally, yeah, that's about it. There's maybe like 4 or 5 songs I like from this album. The rest is alright, decent, alright, or at the weakest, okay, and average. So for a score for me overall, I think I'm going to give Kid LAROI's The First Time album a 6.5 out of 10. It's an okay listen. I just find a few things to be underwhelming. So there's not really a majority of the portion is okay. And there are some tracks that do pretty well. Even for the solid tracks, they did pretty well for what it went for. But overall, the remainder, like the other 15, 16 songs, were decent, average, and okay. So they weren't great, but they were something. So pretty much 6.5 out of 10 for the Kid LAROI's new album, The First Time. Thank you guys for watching this album review today.